See, this is the Exceptional Conservative Show. I am the exceptional one, Kim McClinton. We have a great guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen. None other than Biff Zeppe, SHR's media darling. You can find him on the Shite Show on Wednesday nights at 11 p.m. on SHR Media, and he has his own show called BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon. You can find him at Zeppe on Twitter and Facebook. Want to introduce to some, present to others, Biff Zeppe. Get down, brother, get down. Oh my goodness. I think we're having some combating here, and I'm going to have to get a closeout segment for Craig Syracusa. He may pop up in just one moment. See, one of the problems with live television is that sometimes when you're working out with public relations, that we get some things crossed, and the crossing comes in terms of time frame for people to be on the program. I think we've had that problem here tonight. Craig Syracusa from Walk in Faith was supposed to be on earlier. He came on later, so we were trying to do the interview, but it ran into the second interview that we have to do with Biff Zeppe. So we're going to check on that at this particular time period. And Craig Syracuse is a consummate professional. Biff Zeppe, consummate professional. I'm a consummate amateur. So so stuff happens to be, and you just got to keep rolling with it. So in just one moment, Biff Zeppe is appearing now, so we will work out getting Craig back on the program. Biff Zeppe, God bless you, sir. It is so good to have you here tonight.
Thank you. Perhaps the first thing to ask is, can you hear my voice?
Yes, Mr. NPR, we can hear your voice.
And now, this is Stravinsky's first concerto in D flat.
We're going Biff Zeppe. All right. And Craig, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Let me explain something, Craig. Apparently, we've had a convolution here of time frames. You were supposed to come on earlier, and we have a guest at Biff Zeppe at this time period. So that's why we keep going back frame for frame.
No,
so I do apologize, but I really want you to come back on this program because I really want to talk with you about Walk in Faith and the impact on the American people with COVID. Just quickly before you go, can you tell everybody exactly how they can get in contact with you and how they can watch your program?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much, and I would love to be back on your show. You can check me out on YouTube. It's Walk in Faith Craig Syracusa, or on Instagram, it's C Syracusa, or on Facebook, of course, Craig Syracusa. And the show, like I said, is on multiple platforms, from Parables to Pure Flick.
There we go. And apparently we're getting that convolution again. Biff Zeppe will be coming back in just a few moments. I do apologize, Craig. I really do. We're going to work a whole lot better on coordinating these time schedules so that we won't have these alterings. This is really amazing, isn't it? See, you got to have two interviews in the same one interview. There you go. Craig with us tonight. Syracusa, Walk in Faith, a tremendous man of God, and a tremendous entertainment content provider. We definitely will be seeing you. We will not see the last of Craig Syracusa on our program. So while we wait for Biff Zeppe to come back, to pop back in, see, you all just don't know. People keep asking me, why don't you record stuff, kid? Why don't you just do the recorded thing? I never want to do recordings. It always has to be live, because you have to know there's no such thing as perfection in man. There has to be only perfection in God. And this is one of those clear nights where you have those imperfections with man. Biff Zeppe with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. NPR tonight. Sorry about us going back and forth. Craig Syracuse was with us, and we had a misunderstanding in terms of time periods. It is so good to have you here tonight, Biff.
Let's hope the video lasts. Can you actually tell the difference now in sound?
I love the sound. It's really, really
okay.
It's really distinct and sexy.
Okay, well, thank you. That's my Blue Yeti. Ooh. I plugged in my Blue Yeti and figured that out tonight. So thanks, kid, for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. Hey, Captain's Kittens, really glad to see you here, too. So, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Ken.
Yes.
What are we talking about tonight? Maybe you can tell.
We're talking about the fraud election and how a man can go to sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning ahead and wake up at 6 completely behind. That's simply an amazing thing. It's an amazing tale.
Well, first, I'm going to have to say this. You never, this is the new normal, you never can believe your lying eyes anymore. Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you hear. It's all one big Twilight Zone. Just don't believe it. You're falling asleep deeply. So, Ken, have you made a resolution? Because I have.
Made a, what was that word again?
A resolution.
A resolution? No, I haven't made any resolutions.
Okay. I made a resolution, and my resolution was this: for the rest of forever, and I mean forever, or at least I cack. There will never be anything even remotely known as bipartisanship or compromise on my part ever again. I am done attempting to have even a discussion with Democrats. I'm done attempting to have any conversation whatsoever with leftists or with BLM or Antifa or anarchists. Fill in the blank, the American media maggots. All they understand is naked power. Mm-hmm. And we got to this because up to this point, the Republicans, even when they were fully in charge of the beloved triumvirate, they had the White House, they had the Senate, they had the House, they were unwilling to wield power. And the leftists and the Democrats knew that, and that's how they've gotten away with doing what they're doing now. You can't believe anything. Election was hijacked. So people say something similar to, well, Trump needs to give up. He simply needs to give up. Okay, so Al Gore contested the election for 37 days back in 2000, and that was until December. And remember now, that was okay. As a matter of fact, that wasn't just okay, that was admirable. Now, move ahead to 2020 and President Trump doing the same thing, not conceding until everything is in, is, on the other hand, evil, violent, and undermining our democracy. And that's how they prove it. Of course, they're wrong. They can't even get that right. It's a republic, for one thing. And what you're going to see... I don't know if I can go here on your show. And I have, even before the new year, Ken, you'll find this so admirable. I am attempting to turn over a new leaf. And leaf turn is I'm going to try ever so hard to just not go with the F and the S words. It's going to be really, for me, it's going to be very, very difficult to not do that. But I am so going to try.
Yeah. And I want to let everyone know that those two words that he's referring to are formidable and sanctify. He will not be
yes. And I'm glad you said them and not me, because I made a vow, as you clearly understood, to not say those again. There was a tweet, I'm going to refer now to about 2, maybe 3 tweets.
Yes.
And when I make reference to this, you're going to have to begin to treat leftists and Democrats and the American media magazine, all points in between, BLM, Antifa, anarchists. You're going to have to treat them like Islam, except the very worst of Islam, those people who abide by the book, by the Quran. And that's this. Sooner or later, you're going to have to take these people at their word. When Muslims tell you that they want you dead or they want to kill you, people are finally beginning to realize, I think that's what they really mean.
Yeah.
The corollary to that is, again, for those of you who tuned in just now, there's a guy named Harry Sevugan, Sevugan. And he said, you better believe it. We just launched the Trump Accountability Project to make sure anyone who took a paycheck to help Trump undermine America is held responsible for what they did. TrumpAccountability.net. So again, for those of you who just tuned in, when people are telling you things, now is the point again to believe them. I've been saying for some time, and now it's in the clear, it's in the open. It's all about punishment, retribution, and revenge now for your having exercised your right to vote, daring to vote against them. You now need to be held accountable. You need to feel pain. And what they're saying, I speak leftist, so please let me, if I might. You need to feel pain and you need to be removed from society. Here's another tweet. This is from Jake Tapper. I truly sympathize with those dealing with losing. It's not easy. But at a certain point, want to think not only about what's best for the nation, peaceful transfer of power, but how any future employers might see your character defined during adversity. So, again, Ken, I speak leftist, so will you allow me to translate, sir?
Most certainly. Directly
okay.
in translation.
What this means is if you voted for Trump, your employer should know, and they should fire you. That's exactly what that means. Again, punishment, retribution, revenge. That's the new trend. Now, here's a tweet from Alexandria, occasionally competent. Is anyone archiving these Trump sycophants for trying to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? I foresee decent probability of many deleted tweets, writings, photos in the future, meaning that there needs to be a list of all you evil, evil people, and they're going to keep the list, and they're going to put you on it. And again, AOC confirms it's all about punishment, retribution, and revenge for having dared to exercise your rights and voting against the Democrats and the leftists. You need to be squashed, and all your voices need to be removed. And she also thinks that because we lost, well, losing, I don't know, that's a story for another day, because as we know, 37 Days Gore is told to, I don't believe Trump is lost yet.
No,
when everything is done and all the votes are counted legally, sure, I'll believe that, and a peaceful transfer of power to you too. But until that time, I'm not removing any tweets. I'm not removing my thoughts. I'm not removing anything. It's social media that's removing me, not removing my thoughts or opinions. It's leftists who are removing me. Again, underscores whatever the leftists, whatever the LDMs, the leftist Democrats and the American media maggots, whatever they accuse you of, they themselves are doing right now to you and to others.
I want to coincide with that. statement, an announcement that I received from Pastor Philip Fisher, who does the Morning with Dave and Phil show on TECN TV. And he announced to me this evening about 9:30 that Facebook has deleted his account, his pastoral account, and all other accounts simply because he was putting out information regarding the fraud election. You might also note that there is a sustainable disposition on the Facebook highway and Twitter highway, which encourages conservatives to move to such groups as Gab and Parler and others, because the word is out. They are coming for all of us after the election. And Dave, Biff, I gotta say this. Forgive me. I gotta say.
Yes,
this.
Frank. Go ahead.
Just Frank. Biff, I gotta say this to you. We've been saying this for years, and our fellow conservatives were kind of like, "No, that's not going to happen." What's wrong with us? At least the conservatives that can't figure this out.
There is a certain amount of innate goodness within conservatives who still the ancient thought that the Constitution means something, that our power and our rights come from God, not from government. We believe in the Constitution and we believe in the Bill of Rights. It's become, to me at least, plainly evident that playing the game of turning the other cheek is not working. All it's doing is it's getting our skin flailed off of our cheeks, and I'm not turning it anymore, period, end of statement, because in my opinion, the stakes are too completely high. This is for not just the soul of our nation, the last free, true place on earth, because as you and I well know, when and if this country dies, freedom around the globe will collapse as well. That's exactly what all the globalists are hoping for. All the globalists, including those in big corporations. Now, it's taken me a while to realize that big corporatists are actually evil. But I didn't see that, unfortunately. I saw the rise of Google, social media, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and all the usual suspects in that. I have had this gentleman by the name of Brandon Straka. He's the creator of #WalkAway. He created it in 2018 because he saw the writing on the wall and he began that early. This is where we're going now, Ken. He received this from an email company called MailChimp. Folks, if you have something called MailChimp, leave it now. Flee now. It sent this to him. Hello, Brandon. MailChimp is not able to serve as your email provider for your account with the Brandon Straka, which is actually pronounced Strzok, because the content associated with your industry conflicts with our acceptable use policy or presents a significant risk to our deliverability. I speak leftist. I'll translate. You are a conservative. You're a man of the right. We couldn't care less that you're gay or a member of the LGBT community, and Brandon Straka is very gay. And quite frankly, I don't care with regard to this. He is a conservative. He's responsible for starting the program that got blacks, Hispanics, people that were entrenched in the Democrat Party took away. Now his industry. Now, Ken, what would Brandon Straka's industry be? He doesn't really have a job per se. He now is making his money off of people that are sending donations. He's traveling all across the United States. So would that be the industry of, oh, wait, I speak leftist, I'll translate, freedom. So the industry of freedom conflicts with their acceptable use policy. Or now, Ken, maybe you can explain this to me. It conflicts and presents a significant risk to their deliverability. What the hell is that? I suspect we don't want to deliver to you anymore. So because you're on the right, and we know you're on the right, you've made absolutely no qualms about it whatsoever, we're just going to remove your voice. To even send email, folks, it's down to email. If you think it's stopping at email, if you think it's stopping with your job, if you think in the next 4 years, well, I don't know, Ken, how long do you give what half-life of Joe Biden if he wins? What do you think,
35 days. 35
okay.
days.
And then it may or may not be Pelosi. It's either Pelosi or her replacement, because I'm not sure if she can pull together a coalition on the floor of the House anymore to rally around her. I'm not really sure of that. But either she or her replacement will then pull out of their left coat pocket the 25th Amendment. Now, they hate the amendments when it works against them, but they love the amendment when it works for them. That pesky Second Amendment and First Amendment and Fourth and Fifth and Sixth, that can go straight to hell. But the 25th Amendment, I suspect, will be used in the not too terribly distant future, late this year, perhaps early next year, perhaps after January 20th, it actually becomes official. The 25th Amendment will magically, mystically somehow become very, very important, and dual with the initials KH will be installed in the president's seat. And from that point, all those are off on their end. But they've been telling us that for years. The problem with the Republicans is Mitt Romney.
Yes.
Jeb Bush.
Yeah. George
McCain.
Yes.
Jeff Flake. All those people, because they've come to expect, leftists have come to expect that Republicans are going to cave just like all those aforementioned people did, which makes it even worse, which makes them double down when someone like OMB decides, I'm not going to listen to you. I don't really care what you say about me. I'm going to say even worse things back to you. Watch what I do. I've gotten to the point where I don't really give a crap what Trump says anymore. I'm all about deeds, not words. So I'm holding on. There seems to be a little bit of a wave growing now about what voter fraud? Well, there seems to be some evidence coming, that William Barr decided he may take action on. So I'm going to let that play out, see where that goes. However, January, and I'd like your feelings or thoughts on this, Ken. Georgia, 2 seats in Georgia. We've got to redouble our efforts. And there's, can you imagine how much money is about to be sunk in Georgia? Georgia in the future, if somehow it can be funneled off into the infrastructure, Georgia may be paved with gold. All their freeways may be paved with gold in the not too terribly distant future, because there's gonna be so much money spent in Georgia. Oh my God! Oh,
exactly. Jamie Harrison, South Carolina, over $75 million the left spent for his loss to Lindsey Graham. And they don't care that they spent $75 million for his loss. What they care about is the impact that it had not only on the media, but also on the people of South Carolina, that virtually said, we don't give a darn at all about what you believe or what you think. We will spend our way into taking control of South Carolina. We will spend our way into taking control of Georgia. The Democrats want the South back. They don't hate racism, they don't hate bigotry, and they don't hate Jim Crow. If they did, there would not be a Joe Biden as president. What they do hate is that they lost the South. They do hate they lost Texas. And so they will do anything they can to get back the South. including changing the ideals about the South. You might find in the next few years the left saying it's okay for the South to have the Confederate flag. It's okay. It's a part of their culture. When all of a sudden they are using that cultural appreciation as a way of finally disposing of the control that the Republicans have on the South. As the South goes, there goes our country. It's not the Midwest, it's the South. And so I just want to also, I received this note from the Daily Skirmish about the House Democrats having a wild conference call last week in which Nancy Pelosi was blamed for losing so many House seats. And she proclaims that they won the House, but it was a Pyrrhic victory because they lost so many House seats, and they lost them to black conservatives and women. And so they're upset. And Representative Abigail Spanberger said no one should say defund the police over again, ever again. And she said we will be torn apart if they continue to support the squad. To which Nancy Pelosi told her, if you have a complaint, my office hours are 9 to 5. What Nancy Pelosi is basically saying is the left are about to take absolute control over the House. And they don't care what they lose in the process to win the agenda. I wanted to get your thoughts regarding that.
The left right now are just like heroin addicts. They cannot not violence. They cannot not cheat anymore. They cannot act like responsible adults. They are jejune. They are puerile. They're kids. They're children. They're part of the woke child, the WCM, the woke child mob. Never in my entire life have I seen a large hassle of racists, naked racists in my life. Now, number one, white people are inherently racist, and they're full of systemic racism, as we're told day in and day out. But even more hated than me these days by the Democrat Party. Isn't it interesting, Ken, how it's the whites in the Democrat Party are telling you how you need to live, how you need to think, how you need to eat, how you need to vote, what you need to say. And if you do not comply, it's you who are the bigot. It's you who are the sexist, the racist. This is powered by Gaups. It's the Gaups that are jumping on the backs in concert with the standard race and poverty pimps on the black side. But whites are racist. Oh my God. The only people that are worse than me are you. And people like you, people a higher melanin count than me, sir. You need to be eradicated. I clearly need to be eradicated. But I have never in my entire life seen a larger conglomerate, congealed glop of racists on the entire planet than the Democrat Party. And it is still to me that most people absolutely, well, can't see it. Now I'm to the point where I believe they won't see it. Well, they won't see it for a number of reasons, because the American media maggots are not going to allow them to see it.
Yeah.
And the social media tycoons are not going to allow you to see it. Who was it? Victor Davis Hanson said recently, and I'm sure you know who he is. He's a professor, conservative, well-thought, very educated, thinking individual. Okay, he happens to be white, who was a professor in written any kind of number of books, lives in California, always spell it with a K. And Victor Davis Hanson essentially said recently that the whites are targets, even more so, blacks are becoming targets.
Yeah.
All those people who voted, blacks, Hispanics, POC, people of color, you folks are the biggest race betrayers on the entire planet. Now, he also said, and I found this interesting, because he's a very grounded individual. He said, does anyone doubt that absent coronavirus, President Trump would be elected right now? And it would be very clear and it would be very high and the numbers would be elevated, etc. And as I listened, I decided to say, yes, that's true. That I believe that. And he said, to the point where now even I have to wonder, where did it come from? What's the timing? And who's actually behind this? Thank you, VDH. I've said since January of this year, in an election year, and the weird thing is that even Tucker Carlson picked this up, or maybe Tucker Carlson said it earlier. I don't know. But I've always said in an election year, everything is about the election. In an election year, everything is about the election. Yes. And it's true. The coronavirus as well. Biden has said that he's going to lock us back up. Despite what the World Health Organization and the CDC said, no more lockdowns for pandemic period, end of statement, none. If Biden wins, we're going to see that. We're going to be going back to old where there is no freedom. Tell me, Ken, please, the last time that you can remember that the leftists or the Democrats expanded our freedoms and liberties, actually provided us with more freedom, more liberty, less government, and allowed people to make more decisions on their own. I'll wait.
It hasn't been done at all. You may include the trip from England to Massachusetts called the Mayflower, in which communism was decided upon before they got off the ship. And they realized after a number of seasons without success, capitalism was the rule of law. The truth of the matter here, BZ, and I would love to do a longer program with you, because I think we're getting to that point in America where we are that generation that will not see liberty and freedom beyond it. I'm quite certain that this would be the time period where the Romans realized that their nation was about to fall to the Turks into the Ottoman Empire, that the Greeks saw Rome overtake it, that the Egyptians saw Greece overtake it. I believe that we are marching towards that. And if the greatest conversation that we need to have is whether we move to Parler or to Gab, we have completely lost the fact that we are in a civil war. And quite frankly, it's not one built on blue and gray. It's one that's built on the fabric of tyranny. And when you look at Cuba to the south of us, you're actually looking at exactly what the Democrat Marxist platform is built upon. And their Fidel Castro-like intent with Che Guevara. And Che Guevara will come very soon someday in America to begin to exercise the liberties of tyranny upon the people. They have already outlined who the groups are, who the targets are, and basically they will come after us one by one. This is why I'm very fearful, because conservatives are so light-minded at times. And I've grown up in Southeast Washington, D.C., so I have a heart of heart. I know what battle is coming. They really believe that they can talk their way out of this. We can work it out. We can sing Kumbaya together at the fireplace.
No, done.
And we will all be able to work this thing out. We can have a divided nation that comes together under Democrat Marxists. And I don't see it that way. What say you, sir?
I'm sure that people are very conflicted. On the other hand, I've heard, quote, good people, air quotes, Christians, alleged conservatives, people who are regular churchgoers, vote for Biden.
Yep.
That's got to stop. That's absolutely got to stop. Playing their game isn't working. And the days of bending over and letting people insert a white hot piece of rebar anywhere they wish, those days have got to end. I am no longer interested in being conciliatory. I'm no longer interested in bipartisanship or compromise. That crap can go to hell. If that makes me not a Christian, if that means I don't believe in God, I can live with that because I'm fighting for the soul, my soul, of the nation, which means that I'm fighting for everybody else. If this, I am of a sufficient age now that depending on what happens, if I get killed doing X, fill in the blank, let me emphasize to everybody, I don't care.
There you go.
I really don't care. If you push the good people of the United States too far, Yamamoto's quote about behind every blade of grass is a gun, I refer you to the original Yamamoto quote before he got shot down into the ocean by American forces. JFK had a very interesting quote. He said, "Those who make peaceful evolution possible make revolution immediate," or something similar to that, meaning that if you continue to push violence, and here's something else that's very interesting, and I'm sure you probably already saw this, but this is, I'm big on Schadenfreude. And Schadenfreude is a German term for essentially this: being happy as you watch the bodies of your enemy floating languidly by in a river downstream and thinking, well, here's some recent Schadenfreude, the story likes of which you've probably heard. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this either occurred in the D.C. area or New York City. Perhaps you can tell me. But anarchists and went to the Biden headquarters, ashed it, and screwed things up. They looted it. I don't think they set it on fire, but folks, leftists, Democrats, American media maggots, you started out with the little bitty lizard. And what you did is you petted and groomed and you fed that lizard, and now it's becoming a dragon. And you won't be able to stop. If you think that you can control that dragon, Democrats, you're so incredibly wrong. This is just the first in a series of continuing examples of you can't stop that dragon, you can't unlight his breath, you can't shut Genie back in the bottle. Always remember, leftists, and I will always remind you of this and laugh mightily when I see you from within by these very same people that you embraced. You grew that dragon. You pulled it out of that egg. You warmed it. You petted it. You stroked it. You told it it was a good lizard. And then you fed it more and more. And then it did exactly what you wanted it to do at the very beginning. It lit all the cities on fire. It ended up killing a few people, but they weren't you people, so that was immaterial. Pretty soon that dragon is going to turn its head around and breathe fire all over you. It may already be starting. Exactly. You've opened a door, leftists and Democrats. Don't be surprised when all the terrible elements that you don't want to be associated with follow you right through that same door.
BZ,
don't be surprised.
To add this right here, that the simple fact of the matter is it only took 1/3 of the country to defeat England. 2/3 were either cowardice or loyalists to England. It only took 1/3 of us as patriots to take this country. Don't think that those numbers change. it will only take a third of us, and we will take our country back. The other thing I want to say is, for those of you who are looking at history, you might want to go back to 1859. And in 1859, there were those who were clamoring in antithesis to slavery, while there were those who were supporting slavery. And a man named Abraham Lincoln revealed the ignorances to the masses that stated our Constitution basically has made people free. People will either be free by choice of all, or we shall go to war so that people will be free by the force of all. We have reached that point in America. I have said it over and over again. I'm not trying to incite violence. I am trying to tell you we have reached that jagged edge when people feel that their liberties and their freedoms have been approached. And quite frankly, this election has illuminated how great and how devastating the threat is against the American people. On January 20th, Donald Trump is president, or there will be something worse that comes. That's just my opinion, my thought. I want to give you closing words here.
I'm starting to do this on every show that I have, because it's so incredibly prescient, and we refuse to learn from history. 2 quotes. One is short, a little longer. If I could ask to read both, because they're both on my show now. The first one you've heard any number of times. This is from Pastor Niemöller. Pastor Niemöller during World War II essentially said, I came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I wasn't a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. There was a book, and this paragraph sums up, in my opinion, what's happening right now. Arthur Blair, otherwise known as George Orwell, wrote in 1949 an incredible book called 1980. This, to me, is the crux of the biscuit of that entire book. And you tell me if this philosophy sounds similar to you. Now I will tell you the answer to my question. It is this: the party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in good of others. We are interested solely in power, pure power. What pure power means, you will understand presently. We are different from the oligarchies of the past in that we know what we are doing. All the others, even those who resembled ourselves, were cowards and hypocrites. The German Nazis, the Russian communists came very close to us in their methods, but they never had the courage to recognize their own motives. They pretended, perhaps they even believed, that they had served power, that they had seized power unwillingly and for a limited time, and that just around the corner lay a paradise where human beings would be free and equal. We are not like that. We know that no one ever seizes power with the intent of relinquishing it. Power is not a means, it is an end. One does not establish a dictatorship in order to safeguard a revolution. One makes the revolution in order to establish the dictatorship. The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power. So now you begin to understand me.
Wow. We're there, people. We're there. Ladies and gentlemen.
Don't think we're not.
Biff Zeppe with us tonight. SHR Media darling himself. You can find him on Tuesdays and Thursday nights on SHR with Berserk Bobcat Saloon. And the Shite Show on Wednesday night. At 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And his writings also can be found at Voice of Liberty on the TECN TV page. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
And thanks for doing that, Ken.
Hey, not a problem. People need, in this hour, people need to hear the truth. And they're not going to hear it on Facebook. They're not going to hear it on Twitter. And quite frankly, Fox News and all the rest of the mainstream media, you're not going to hear it. You need to be able to follow people who preach the truth. You just heard the truth. And here's another truth I will add before we close tonight. It was Joseph Stalin who basically stated it's not those people who vote that choose their leader, it's the people that count their vote. In Philadelphia, who's counting your vote?
And isn't that still true in 2020?
Wake up, America. If you really want to be woke, wake up. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have enjoyed our festival of Speak this particular evening. We adored the First Amendment. I want to thank my great friend Biff Zeppe for being with us tonight, SHR Media darling. Craig Siracusa, forgive me. Oh my gosh, I screwed that name like a pup. Craig Siracusa with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful guy. Welcome in Faith. You gotta watch his show 8:30 p.m. on netnewyork.net is ny.net. As well, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to come back as we prepare tomorrow. Craig Huey will be with us. We are a republic. We are not a democracy. And we are the best in urban conservative news, talk, and movies. TECNTV.com, the Exceptional Conservative Show. I just wanted to end this by telling you just two things real quick. Number one, we will be playing It's a Wonderful Life on the final Sunday of this month at 7 p.m. Go directly to TECN TV for more details. But we will be playing It's a Wonderful Life. And I know that there's some conservatives out there that say that it's an anti-conservative movie. It really isn't. It's about family. It's about sustenance. It's about the big guys being controlled and the ambitions of the little guy being able to pervade over the earth. That's you and me. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't remember anything else I said tonight, I hope that you do remember this great flag and this great message. God bless America. It is now time for America to bless God. Mary Brockman, we love you dearly. Thank you so much for being here tonight. God bless you, Mrs. Biggs. Love you dearly. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Everyone else, God bless you. We love you. We'll see you tomorrow night with Craig Huey. Thank you.